So this is the Rolex Pepsi. Loved by collectors, hunted by resellers, and nearly impossible to buy at retail. But beneath the hype, what kind of watch is it really? So today we're taking a no-nonsense look at the GMT Master 2 Pepsi, the design, the movement, the wearability, and of course, the real-world buying experience in 2026. And right, let's start out with something simple to kind of ease you in. So the Pepsi is a full solid steel sport watch by Rolex, measuring 40mm in diameter with a lug-to-lug of 48.1 and a height of 12.1mm. So what we are dealing with here is a Rolex, not super huge, but big enough to, let's say, disqualify for a couple of people based on its size, but we're going to touch on it a little bit later. The case has a brushed finishing when looking at it from the top, and the flanks or the sides of that watch case are polished. The same theme of that finishing is also noticeable on the bracelet. So we also have two types of finishes here too. No matter if you're going to go for the Jubilee or the Oyster bracelet, now we have two versions available. So either way, you have a polished center with brushed outer parts. The clasp is the same on both bracelets too. It is a folding Oyster lock safety clasp with a 5mm ease-link to, easily adjust the bracelet on the go without having to use any tools. But let's get back to the case. The dial itself is a full-on black lacquered, very shiny dial with only white text on the dial, with the classic Rolex Mercedes hands and the iconic red GMT hand with an arrow tip. The date sits at 3 with a magnifying lens with a factor of 2.5. And right next to the date is the crown, protected by crown guards, so it sits neatly in between. Not the crown, I mean, with the Rolex crown on it, in the little indicator that lets you know that that watch is waterproof. So this one, as you can see, has 3 dots below the crown, which lets you know that this is a triplo crown. So that means it is a triple sealed winding crown system that comprises 3 waterproofness zones with lateral shields on the middle case to protect it from any shocks. And last but not least, there is the most important part, the one that makes the entire watch, the bezel, of course. It is a full two-tone bidirectional ceramic, or as Rolex calls it, a cerochrome bezel insert. So this has been made from one piece of ceramic and then has been colored like this. Molded numerals in the graduation as well. The two-tone colorway, so the red and blue, are what makes the look of this watch, which used to be a more striking brighter red and blue in the previous versions, but this latest Pepsi has this very dark, I would say almost purple blue, and a very, very toned down red. Okay, let's move on to the movement of the Pepsi. Built inside is now the automatic 3285 Rolex in-house caliber, which, according to Rolex, runs with an accuracy of ±2 seconds per day after casing the movement. It has a power reserve of about 70 hours, so it's almost 3 full days with a paramagnetic blue pyrochrome hairspring, which beats with a rate of 28,800 beats per hour. There are also Paraflex shock absorbers and a bidirectional self-winding rotor, so all in all, everything you need for a true sports watch that can be worn every day, all the time, very much so. And that is pretty much all you need to know on the, let's say, more or less surface level about the movement if you want to deep dive on Rolex movements, because let me tell you, that is a rabbit hole that you can really go down into. Let me know in the comments down below and we can make a video on that too. But for now, I want to move on with how it wears. Arguably the most important part about the watch itself. We have already covered the measurements of the case when we talked about the hard facts, and those points are directly impacting the overall wearing experience, of course. With a diameter of 40mm and a lug-to-lug of 48.1, this is undeniably a watch that wears best on wrists that have a circumference of, I would say, 170mm and above, and I stand by that. From my experience, if a lug-to-lug is larger than, let's say, 46 to 47mm, wrists below the 170mm have a harder time supporting the presence and size of a case like that. So what does that mean in everyday life? Well, some might be able to navigate this a bit better, but from my own experience, whenever I wear a watch that is usually too big for me and my wrists, the risk of, just hitting it against something like door frames, desks, and all that kind of stuff is significantly higher compared to watches that actually fit me, like, let's say, this one, for example. This is a very tiny vintage Cartier. This is small enough, and I rarely hit anything with this one. And on top, I also don't really like the look of oversized watches on myself. Again, that can be entirely different for you or other people, but I would say on average, it seems like most people share the same experiences here. In terms of color, material, and configuration, the Pepsi seems to be kind of separate people into mostly two groups. You've got those who think the color combo is too much for everyday use and that is too colorful, and others who find it to be the perfect mix of, these muted colors that go well with everything. And the fact that this is a steel watch makes this a complete no-brainer if you're looking for, a durable everyday watch. So if you choose the Jubilee bracelet, it adds a little bit more of an extra sparkle should you ever need it. If you go for the oyster version, this is obviously a bit more casual, so to speak. I think that thanks to its heritage and history, the Pepsi bezel is very wearable. It carries the presence of its predecessors. It looks great with jeans and a t-shirt, but I can also see this working with nicer clothes. I mean, my husband wore his to his wedding, so he paired his Pepsi with his wedding suit, and I thought it looked very nice. Okay, so we talked about the watch itself, how it wears and looks and what makes it tick, but I think in case of the Pepsi, we should also be quickly cover the things that it can do for you, because obviously it tells the time. It has a central hour, minute, and seconds hand, but there is more, of course. So let's start simple. At 3 o'clock, you have the magnified date with the right background on it, super classic Rolex date window here. And additional to the central 3-hand time layout, there is the red arrow tip GMT, and that completes the watch since, this is a GMT. And it works in combination with the bezel to set your second time zone. As you can see, your Pepsi bezel has a 24-step graduation separated into 2 halves. You've got the red and the blue one. The red half represents daytime, and the blue is supposed to be night, or let's say the time, afternoon, so until 6 in the morning. So let's say you live in Berlin and your main central time is set to Berlin time, which is GMT +1, or Central European Standard Time. And now let's say you, fly to Sydney. Now that you've landed in Sydney, you can use your GMT hand and bezel to set your time to GMT +11 and keep your central time to always know what time it is at home, so you don't get angry when your mama doesn't text you back, because now you know that when you text her at like 4 in the afternoon in Sydney, it's the middle of the night in Germany. And that is pretty much it. Using the GMT function is not only very simple, but also very convenient, especially if you travel a lot. And a little bit of a more romantic example, if you are long distance with someone, you can always have the second time zone set to their time zone, which I think is very cute. And I know a couple of people that actually do that. So yeah, here's your context of what you can use this watch for. And lastly, we obviously have to talk about prices. With Rolex, there's going to be a premium on the gray market with most models. The Pepsi is no exception to the premium rule when it comes to Rolex. It currently retails for $11,100 US. It is extremely popular, and on the gray market, you have to expect a price tag of about $20,000 to $22,000 if you're looking to buy a new watch with an activation date that was within the past 3, 4, or 5 months. So yeah, you have almost doubled the price here. And is that premium justified? Kind of yes and no. Demand and price have been a hot topic when it comes to Rolex. It's nothing new, and the reasons as to why prices are the way they are varied and partially super complicated and even paradox at times. If you want to know more about that, let me know in the comments down below, so I know that I should be doing a video on that soon. But yeah, if you want a new Pepsi right now, you know what to expect. Otherwise, you have to play the AD game and play it well, because the Pepsi is really popular. And that is pretty much all I have for you today. All you need to know about buying and owning and wearing a Pepsi in 2026. It remains one of the most popular Rolex models since its introduction in 2018. It's not that long ago, and I can absolutely see why. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to watch more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and then I will see you in my next one. Bye!